Alright, I'm gonna see if I can show you kind of how these all work. So the wind line, when you do the big shot or tournaments, that wind line is calibrated almost perfectly. So you'll see an even amount of white on in the various areas. Right there, that's pretty much straight in line with the wind. So now when I adjust, I know that I'm going straight. So let's say it won't quite be 4 rings, but say I wanted to move 4 rings. Towards the bottom here, you see kind of that thicker pink line. I'm going to put that. Actually, we're going to do the center pink line. Come on, it's a little finicky. I mostly play on a tablet, not a phone, but I'm doing this on my phone right now. Alright, so now that second ring, if I pull to the other side of the second ring, it's 4 rings worth. So that gives me a pretty exact adjustment right there for 4 rings. So that's the primary purpose. The other thing is to be able to find the club's range. So you see right here where it changes to wedge. This is not a great hole for it, honestly. What did we do? Oh, never mind, we made that one 50. Alright, so if you look at the bottom, right where my ball is, by my icon, see where that thick pink line is? This is for finding out club range. That's the 0% mark right there where that thick pink line is, just under my profile picture. And then if you look where the center of the target is, I might be 1% short of that. So that's about 99% range to where that upper pink line is, but we'll call that 100%. So if I was trying to land the ball, if I find out my target's about right there, okay, that's only going to be 80%. So each one of the red horizontal lines in this kind of ladder, each one of the red lines represents 10%. If I went really short, that would be 25%. So I'm only flying the ball to 25% of the club's range, and this is how I get feedback and kind of learn the different adjustments that are required. It's pretty huge to know with wedges, because you'd be amazed how much the adjustment will change with even as little as like 3 or 5% of the club's range, because wedges truly go from 0% all the way up to 100. So if I'm only, say I'm going about 64%, would be about right there. That's pretty close to 64%. So I know for 64%, I'm gonna adjust almost exactly half of what I would adjust for 100%. on a wedge shot, because what I have found is that wedge shots get affected more by the wind than they do than other clubs do. And as you go longer, you're hitting the ball much higher, more up in the air, and they're coming down steeper. So it's going to affect it on the way up and the way down. And because you have not that long of a shot relatively, but the ball is in the air for a long time, it will get pushed much more by the wind and compressed much more by the wind. So the rest of this is to help you measure the overpower when you aren't perfectly centered. So right there, the top of the ball and the bottom of the ball are going to touch respectively the thicker pink line on top and the thicker red line on the bottom. Now if I want to curl it and want to make sure that I don't add power, that's going to be more consistent than just eyeballing it. The other lines are going to represent overpower amounts. So when you first make the ball pop to the white color there, where it's starting to kind of cook, as I like to say, that's 25% overpower. That very thin red line, just as it starts, to do the white heat thing. The second one is 50% overpower. Third is 75. Fourth, and that's as far as you can pull it back, is 100%. And yes, I know the ball is just under it. So yeah, that's most of what they're for. Back to the aim view. I also have the blue and the yellow line further up, and that was just kind of to give me an idea for quick reference while I'm zoomed out where my short iron is, because more often than not when I'm using the ruler, as I like to call it, to measure the distance, it is going to be with the wedge. Sometimes it'll be the short iron, but normally it's the wedge. So that's just kind of giving me an idea of, okay, if that's max range with the wedge, then about halfway there is going to be the short iron, and that's going to be the long iron. So that's telling me where 125% wedge range and 150% wedge range are. Also, even though I won't actually stretch it to there for the wedge. It's more to give me an idea of exactly how far we're having to go without just a lot of zooming in back and forth. And you already saw how I adjusted, so that's most of it, honestly. It's primarily to make sure that I'm adjusting straight and pulling in a straight line and the correct number of rings, because I usually like to point the wind, up on the screen and then pull away from it. It's just easier for me to see. But you can also point it down and then push the adjustment against the wind too. I don't really care about this big shot, so let's see if we can get a decent sample shot here, just to give you an idea of how this thing works. And again, I don't normally play on the phone, so this is probably not going to be real pretty. I would normally just be doing this on a tablet. So I'll end up going 3.5-ish rings here. Maybe 3.75 actually. And I'm going to curl it hard right. goes in good. Cool. Yep, so that's what that's for. I'm surprised that went this well on this phone because I'm spoiled and used to the bigger screen, but that's how it works. So good luck, and let me know if you need any help with tweaking it to be more exact on your particular phone.